Welcome, everyone. Today, we're going to journey into, well, the shadows of ancient China. It's a vast land, incredibly old, billions of people, so you just know it's packed of stories. And we're not talking about the happy ones today. No, we're here to tell the stories of 5 of China's absolute creepiest mythical creatures and urban legends. These are tales that have been whispered down through generations. Honestly, pure nightmare fuel for a lot of people. Prepare yourselves.
Okay, let's just jump right in. First up, we have the Jiangxi. You might have heard of it, sometimes called the hopping ghost. Now, if you're thinking vampire, you're sort of on the right track. But the Jiangxi, it's got its own very unique, very unsettling kind of terror.
Absolutely. And its origin story is particularly chilling in Chinese folklore. It taps into this deep fear of, unresolved issues after death. The belief is that it's created when some kind of malevolent demon possesses the corpse of someone who died recently, especially if it was a violent death or maybe suicide.
So it's like the soul isn't at rest. Exactly. It speaks to that cultural anxiety about the restless dead and why proper burial rites are seen as so critical for keeping things in balance.
And the movement. The hopping. It sounds almost, comical when you first hear it, doesn't it? But it's because the corpse is rigid, stiff, supposedly in terrible pain. So it can't walk, it just lunges, hops. But definitely don't let that image fool you. The Jiangxi is incredibly vicious, always starving for blood.
Oh, absolutely vicious. Attacks with unbelievable strength. Long, sharp fingernails for tearing, jagged teeth. Even its breath is described as foul, deadly almost. Pure brutality.
So how do you stop something like that?
Well, the folklore offers some interesting ways, as some overlap a bit with Western ideas like garlic or salt are thought to repel them. Direct sunlight is a big one, fatal if it hits their skin. Then you have things like a sword made from peachtree wood. Peachwood has strong spiritual significance. And then there's the slightly stranger one, throwing the urine of a virgin boy at it.
Right, that one definitely stands out. The sheer savagery, though, is really captured in that old story, isn't it? From Pu Songling, the resuscitated corpse.
Oh yes, a classic. Really paints a picture.
Imagine this. 4 merchants, tired, need a place to stay. The inn's full. They get offered space in a barn. But the innkeeper's daughter-in-law's corpse is laid out in there waiting for burial.
Not exactly a restful atmosphere.
Right, but they're exhausted. They fall asleep, middle of the night. The corpse gets up, it comes after them, attacks 3 of them. One guy manages to stay awake somehow. He flees, the Jiangxi hopping right behind him. He dodges an attack, and the creature sinks its claws deep into a willow tree. Gets stuck for a moment.
Just terrifying, the sheer panic.
The merchant is so terrified he faints, wakes up later, the Jiangxi is gone, he goes back to the barn, finds his friends dead, and the daughter-in-law's body. Still there. But now it's covered in blood.
Chilling.
And the kicker, the innkeeper confesses she'd actually died 6 months ago. They were just waiting for the right time to bury her.
Which goes right back to what we were saying about proper rites and timing. Delaying it, maybe that's what invited the trouble. A profound respect, or maybe fear, of that boundary between life and death.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so if the Jiangxi is about the horror of the dead returning, let's shift gears. Let's talk about the Noonian. This one connects to a totally different kind of fear. Maybe the power of nature. But it's fascinating how its legend actually shaped, the biggest celebration in China.
Exactly. The Noonian is this legendary beast, described as pretty terrifying. Body of a bull, head of a lion, supposedly lives way up in the highest mountains.
Its appearance alone just screams primal threat. Now, most of the year it kept hidden, left people alone. But when winter came, food got scarce up there. The Noonian would come down, right at the start of the new year. And it wasn't looking for scraps. It came to feast on crops, livestock, even, horrifyingly, children.
Yeah, the stories say the villagers were terrified. First, they tried appeasing it. They'd leave whole meals outside their doors, just hoping it would eat that and leave them alone.
But then they figured something out, right? A weakness.
They did. A huge discovery. They learned the Neon was scared of 3 things. The color red, loud noises, and fire.
And that discovery just changed everything. Fear turned into, a party. Villagers started painting everything red, hanging red lanterns everywhere, especially between houses. And they made noise, lots of it. Music, firecrackers, parades. Basically a huge celebration designed to scare the beast away.
And the legend says it worked. The Neenan stayed away after that. It's really quite remarkable, isn't it? How a story about this terrible monster became the foundation for Chinese New Year traditions, taking those deep-seated fears about winter and scarcity and turning them into this huge, joyous, communal act of defiance and celebration. It shows how rituals can help manage fear.
Absolutely fascinating. From physical monsters to maybe something more pervasive. Let's talk about the Wang Liang. This is described as a demon feared across China, but it seems a bit more slippery, hard to pin down.
That's a good way to put it. The term Wang Liang has shifted in meaning over the centuries, but originally it often referred to a specific kind of malevolent spirit, and its supposed locations add to that slipperiness. It could be in the mountains, or rivers lurking in graveyards, or even, some believed, residing within inanimate things like rocks or trees. That sense of it being anywhere, everywhere, is key to the fear.
And the descriptions vary wildly too. Some say it looks human, but with only one leg. Others say it looks like a dragon when it's swimming, or maybe a three-legged turtle. That lack of a fixed form is unsettling in itself.
It really is. That suggests the fear isn't about one specific monster you can identify, but more like this unseen, creeping malevolence, a shapeshifter of perception almost. But, the most common description, it may be the creepiest, is that it looks like a 3-year-old child. Brown skin, red eyes, fair hair. That innocent image just makes its actual nature way more disturbing.
Oh, definitely. And its habits are, well, gruesome. It's said to feed on the brains or livers of corpses, a real ghoul. And as if that wasn't bad enough, it's also blamed for spreading malaria. So it's a threat to the dead and the living. Terror and sickness rolled into one.
A truly nasty entity.
Okay, let's move on to shapeshifters. We see this theme globally, right? Europe's got werewolves, China has its own version, and it's just as terrifying. The were-tiger, what makes this one stand out?
Well, the core idea of transforming into a dangerous predator is pretty universal. You find similar tales across Asia. These stories might have roots in India, but they really took hold and adapted in places like China.
And the ancient Han Chinese had some specific chilling ideas about where tigers came from. One belief was that if you were killed by a tiger, your ghost might become this demonic spirit, basically working for the tigers to cause more deaths. Or, and this is maybe even darker, people who were seriously wronged could use sorcery rituals to actually invoke the tiger's power for revenge. So either a vengeful ghost or a chosen transformation.
And here's a really chilling aspect, something that often sets it apart from, say, werewolf myths. Once someone gains this ability, it's often believed to be hereditary. It becomes a curse passed down through generations. Imagine innocent descendants born into this, struggling with a power they can't control. And oddly, folklore often mentions females being more likely to inherit this curse. Adds a whole layer of inescapable tragedy.
Wow, an inherited curse. That is bleak. And the transformation itself is different too, right? No full moon needed.
Correct. Unlike many werewolf legends, where tigers don't seem tied to the lunar cycle, the stories often suggest they transform nightly. Every single night. They only turn back into human form when the sun comes up.
Imagine living with that. Every night the transformation happens. Horrifying.
And there are supposedly ways to spot one. Specific unsettling clues. One is to check a tiger's paw. If it's 5 toes instead of the normal 4, that's a big warning sign. The other involves looking at a person you suspect. A small black dot on their lower back. That's believed to be where the tiger's tail detaches when they shift back to human. The mark of the beast, essentially.
Okay, 5 toes or black dot. Got it. Chilling details. All right, for our final story tonight, we have the Juyuan. And this one describes a truly horrific crime, something that's inspired fear for centuries, tapping into really primal anxieties about violation and lineage.
Yes, the Juyuan is described as this creature, human-like but also animal, resembles a large monkey, maybe just over 5 feet tall, said to live in the mountains southeast of Shuhan. And crucially, it walks upright, sometimes acts quite human. That blurring of lines is key.
But its actions are purely monstrous. The legends say it aggressively kidnaps women traveling through its territory, and forces itself on them to conceive offspring. It's just brutal domination.
The folklore usually suggests the Julian are all male. So this is their way of reproducing, taking human females as unwilling breeding partners to continue their kind. Their survival literally depends on this violence.
It's horrifying, and the story gets even stranger, right? After some years, the women are let go.
Yes, that's part of the legend. After a few years in captivity, the women and any children born are supposedly freed, allowed to return home.
But returning home doesn't end the nightmare. There's that final, really disturbing detail.
Right. This is perhaps the most unsettling part. The belief is that the children born from this union, look completely human. They grow up showing no outward signs, physical or mental, of their Julian father. They become indistinguishable from anyone else in their village.
Wow. So the horror is hidden, walking among them.
Exactly. It plays on that deep fear of the other hiding in plain sight. A living secret. embodying this terrible violation integrated right into the community. It challenges everything you think you know about who belongs, who is us.
So we've covered a lot of ground tonight. Some really chilling stories from China. The hopping Jiangxi, the Neon Beast of New Year, the sneaky Wanglang demon, the shape-shifting were-tiger, and the horrifying Jew and abductor. Each one, in its own terrifying way, gives us a glimpse into some really deep-seated fears and cultural beliefs from this ancient civilization.
And it's worth remembering, these aren't just old fairy tales collecting dust. For some communities, these beliefs are still very real. They continue to shape fears, influence traditions, inform local folklore even today. They're living stories, in a way.
So it makes you think, doesn't it? What does it mean when these kinds of terrifying stories get woven so tightly into everyday life, into traditions? How do tales like these about monsters and the supernatural keep influencing us, shaping how we see fear, identity, even the world around us? Something to ponder. If you found these stories as compelling and creepy as we did, please do give this a like, share it with anyone else who appreciates unsettling tales, and definitely be sure to subscribe to the Horror Docs channel. We've got plenty more explorations into the dark and unknown coming your way. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. Sleep tight, if you can.